If you're familiar with Natasha Denona, you may remember hearing a lot about this palette for years. The gold palette was released in 2018. I think this is one of the first examples that I saw where there were many formulas in one palette, and it's on many people's favorite lists, so it has a cult following. And it has been discontinued for a while now. So people have been begging Natasha to bring it back in a midi size, and it seems she really listened, because now there's a golden palette. It was announced very recently on Trendmood's page, but Natasha Denona hasn't really said anything, and I don't think you can find it easily on her website. And while it may look different upon first sight, it has 9 out of the 15 shades from the old gold palette. This account made this great image to show the shades that were repeats. There's actually another shade that is a repeat from a palette that I don't have, so I didn't show it here, but I'll link it down below for those of you who are interested. So it's like a neutral take on the gold. They use just the neutral side. Many of the shades in my gold palette have seen better days, and yet I think it has held up pretty well. The powder mattes especially, and the new palette uses almost all of them. So I want to rearrange this just to see how the new one may look like. All of the shades you see here already exist in the gold palette, so I'm just going to move them around to the order that they're in on the golden palette. This is a great release for those who missed on the gold palette or just want the neutral parts, but you know, if you already have the gold palette, I strongly recommend doing this. There is another shade that is a repeat, and that is Flesh from the Star palette, so I'll just take it and put it right here. So just seeing this color story, I know it's going to be very warm leaning, and also I'm going to critique a little bit of the decisions for the mattes because these 3 are very similar. And I had to pick 5 shades that, you know, remind me a little of the new ones. But this is Natasha Denona's old formula, so I already know they're not going to compare. Her mattes have been consistently good from the start, but her shimmers have gotten a lot better with time. And even then, some of the ones in the gold palette really hold up even today. Now let's go to swatches. Alchemist is a rich golden copper with strong warm undertones and sparkling metallic finish. Next it's Sandstone, which is a light brown with warm yellow undertones and a matte finish. Next I picked Galaxia from the Star palette to replace Fitzy, which is described as a sheer icy white with a crystal finish. Then there's Aria, a soft brown with warmer undertones and a matte finish. Next, this is Kava, a light medium golden copper with flecks of copper and gold sparkle. Next, there's Flesh from the Star palette, a warm peach with a creamy matte finish. Next, the shade that I picked for Pana is Aya from the Safari palette. It's a soft beige with warm peachy undertones and a matte finish. Then there's Teak, a light medium brown with subtle warmer red undertones and a matte finish. This one is showing its age. Next, this is Oro, a deep gold with warm orange undertones and a sparkling metallic finish. This is one that is as good as new, despite being 6 years old. Next, this is the shade that's going to replace Nubia. It's Sienna from the Green Brown palette. A medium dark golden bronze with a warm undertone and a frosted, slightly metallic finish. I know Nubia is going to be more sparkling than metallic, but this is the closest that I've got from Natasha. Speaking of sparkles, this is Sparks from the gold palette. It's going to be replacing Aura. Described as a pale white gold with warmer undertones and a glittery finish. Next, this is Slug. It's a deep brown with neutral to warm undertones and a matte finish. Next, I replaced the shade Nleiko with Vertex from the Triochrome palette, which is described as a light beige with subtle warm undertones and a matte finish. I think Nleiko is a cream to powder, so I'm going to use a matte instead. Next is Speres, a very warm toned light medium brown with a metallic finish. And lastly, it's Aurum, a very warm toned medium gold with a metallic finish. And so here's all of the palette together. Again, 10 of these 15 shades are correct. The other 5 I had to take liberties with because, well, you know, I don't know a single thing about the new palette. So these are the 5 shades that I had to put in there, but you can see the ones that are already there look very warm. So it's weird that she would lean warm, given that cool tones are all the rage right now, so maybe we're going to see warm come back. And because I know Natasha has changed her formula a lot, I'm going to include Cleona into this other little dupe. I'm going to put Opulent in the place of Fitzy. This is foiling, and I'm going to put it in the place of Nubia, because I think this one would be the most sparkliest shade. And lastly, this is Lux, and I'm going to place it where Aura should be, because I think that this gold iridescent will look very pretty among all this gold. This is my more modern take because, I don't know, more texture shadows are more trendy now, and Natasha has changed over the years. This is how they look swatch. They look way more sparkly the way Natasha has been going with her sparkles. It's not as good as Cleona yet, but I can see her getting closer and closer to a more sparkly formula. She's really killing it lately, especially in comparison to her old formulas. But this is the palette that I made with Natasha. I am just a little sad because it seems to me that they cut the shades that made the gold palette stand out from any other neutral palette, so the new one looks like another neutral palette. But you know, I don't have it. Maybe it's amazing, maybe I'll buy it, I don't know. Also, we already have the fun parts of the gold palette in the Yaka palette. It's like an extension of these. The only shades that it's missing is lime chrome, but it's not necessary to have. So what are your thoughts? Are you running to get it, waiting for reviews, or not interested at all? Me personally, I'm not running to get this one. I'll wait for reviews and wait for a sale if the new shades are enticing enough. But for now, my old one is still in good condition, and I already have this dupe, which can do like 90% of the looks the other one does. I hope this inspired you to dupe it, whether you have the gold palette or not. It's a fun exercise to explore one's collection and revisit older things. Anyways, that'll be all for me for now. Thank you for watching and have a lovely day.